is Gina. Today I'm going to show you how to make this very pretty necklace with the Elegant Treasure Bag. Now, there were two treasure bags, Festive and Elegant, and there are different beads in them. So this one is with the Elegant Treasure Bag. This is the pendant that's in the Festive Treasure Bag, and I will show you how to make a necklace set with that one very quickly after this one airs. So be on the lookout for that if you have the Festive bag. And again, this is a techniques video. All of the treasure bag videos are techniques you can use with beads that you have, just by slightly modifying or whatever you would like. And I always give you alternative beads in the material list part that you could try with it, so you're not left out if you do not have the treasure bag. So that being said, let's go look at that material list and see how to make this set. Okay, for this tutorial today, I will be making this project with the Elegant Treasure Bag. Now, there were two treasure bags, Festive and Elegant. However, the beads vary a little bit from bag to bag, so I'm going to have to make two separate tutorials. In this tutorial, we're using the Elegant bag featuring this large pendant. In the Festive bag, we have this pendant, so I will be making a separate tutorial to showcase it, as it is different and the accompanying beads in the bag are a little bit different. So what we're going to be using for this particular necklace is we're going to be using some of the 8x6 rondelles. Now keep in mind, you can do this pattern with any pendant bead you have, and you don't even have to have a pendant, because in the center here you could just add another rondelle when you start and just have a really pretty little center with the rondelle. So I just want to emphasize that I'm using these triangle beads that were in the bag. This is a 4.5 by 4.5 by 5, something like that. I will have the accurate numbers in the description in the box beneath the video player. So we're going to be using a little bit larger triangle bead. However, this pattern will work with bicones, it will work with small rondelles, it will work with cuboids, it will work with fire polish beads. So you can do this pattern regardless if you have the treasure bag or not. Or you might just have some of these triangle beads laying around and you want to use them up. Lots of people are asking me how to use them. So the triangle beads, and then we're going to use some of the 4x4 cuboids that were in the bag. This is a gray electroplate. I used to call it silver sparkle, so you may have some of these in your stash also. In the bag, we already used some, but this is a 100-piece strand, so you should have plenty to do this tutorial with also. That's the advantage of having very long strands. You can do more than one project with a strand. And then we're going to use one head pin, so I'm adding this to the treasure bag. I have a little ball head pin, and then we're going to use 3 8mm jump rings and one, this is about a 5mm jump ring. You can use 4 or 6, whatever you would like. It's just to put your clasp on the end. We're going to use one of the lobster claw clasps, and then we're going to add to the bag 2 wire guardians. These are just small size 1 wire guardians, and I have 2 of them in the platinum tone. We are also going to be adding to the treasure bag some 8/0 and just a few 11/0 seed beads. We don't need many for this, but you will need quite a few 8/0s. This is galvanized permanent finish aluminum. So it's a silver tone in the Toho line. And I will be using those. And also the 11/0s are the same color. And then I'm going to be using some Fireline 6-pound, and this is the smoke color, because the beads are dark and this will help kind of hide the thread. So we're going to use the smoke color. I'm using a size 12 beading needle. And let's see, did I forget anything? No. So that's what we're going to be using, and let's go ahead and get started with this tutorial. Remember, if you got the Festive bag, I will be making a tutorial for the Festive bag also. Okay, so in the material list, I didn't include that you'll need a second needle. Now, you can conceivably use one and move it around from thread to thread, but it's much easier if you have 2. So what I've done is I've put about 4.5 feet of thread onto one of my needles, and then I put a needle on the other end also. So what I've done is I put my needles together and make sure that I have about the same amount threaded through the needle, and then on both sides, so that my thread will be even when I center my project. Now we're going to take these two needles and we are going to, let me adjust my lights here, sorry. We are going to separate them, and we're going to start with just one. I'm using my right hand one. And I'm going to pick up a rondelle, and then I'm going to pick up 5 8/0 seed beads. Now, another modification for this particular necklace, if you don't have a big pendant and you don't want a real long big pendant, then you can just pick up 1 8/0, and then you'll pick up an 8/0, a rondelle, an 8/0, a rondelle, and an 8/0. Rondelle, come here. So this is what you will have on your needle. And then you will just go about it the same way, except for you won't have to go through all the beads that I go through for the pendant. So you can do this, and this will just make a nice little centerpiece of rondelles. Or we're going to do this for the pendant, so we're going to pick up 1 rondelle, then we're going to pick up 5 8/0 seed beads onto our needle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'm going to bring this to the center of my thread. I'm just going to grab my 2 needles, put them together, and just pull this to the center somewhat. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point, but you want it somewhere in the center. And then you're going to pick up your pendant and go through the bail. Just bring this bail down. It's kind of unruly. Just bring it down and then slide the 8/0s underneath the bail, and then pick up another rondelle, then an 8/0, a rondelle, and an 8/0. Then we're going to go through the rondelle on this side. So I'm just going over and going through this rondelle right here. This will draw these beads into a circle. Pull on both your tail side and your working thread side, the side you're working on, and just kind of tighten them. Now we have to, I'm going to leave it laying down simply because it's a little easier. It's unruly at this point. I'm going to go through all 5 of these 8/0 seed beads, and it's kind of hard. You can kind of move the pendant out of the way to make sure that you get through all of them. So I'm going through 3, then I'm going to go through all of them like this. Now I'm just going to hold onto my tail thread, and I'm going to pull my working thread through just like that. Then I'm going to sew all the way back around this entire thing. So I'm coming out of the 8/0s here. I'm going to go through this rondelle and this 8/0 here, and you can kind of hold on to it. Like I said, it's a little wobbly and unstable, so it's easier to be working on a beadboard or a desk at this point and lay it down. And then we're going to go through the rondelle, the 8/0, and the rondelle on this side. Pull this through. And then we're going to go back through all of these seed beads. And again, just kind of watch your needle, make sure you get through all of them, and pull your thread through. Now I'm going to travel through this rondelle and this 8/0 right here. And pull on my tail side, pull on my working thread side, and you're going to have slack until we secure the other side here. So we've got this, just like this. Now I'm going to park this needle, I'm going to pick up this needle, and I'm going to sew all the way back around again. So I'm coming out of this rondelle. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up now because I can handle it a little better. So I'm going to go through the 8/0 and the rondelle, pull it through. Then I'm going to go through this 8/0 and rondelle, just ignoring that other thread. Just kind of park it out of your way. and then go through all of the 8-ohs, making sure you get through all of them, just like this. And then we're going to go up through the rondelle, and the 8-oh on this side. Now, we're in a position to where we could start working with our threads, but just to make it a little bit more secure, I'm going to go through this rondelle and this 8-oh and park this needle on this side, ignoring the thread that's already in that 8-oh. So I'm just going to go through the rondelle and the 8-oh here and pull, and then I'm going to pick up our first needle we started with. It's coming out of the 8-oh this way, so we're going to go through this rondelle and this 8-oh. And now that makes it a little bit more secure. Things should stop moving around now. You pull on both sides and everything should be nice and tight, and this is what you should have, just like this. Now we are going to grab one of our needles and we're going to work on this side first, and then we can work on the other side also, and then we'll do one side complete and then the other side. So let's pick up 2 8-oh seed beads onto our needle here. So I'm on the right side now, and I've got 2 8-oh seed beads, and I'm going to go through the opposite side of this 8-oh that I am coming out of. So I'm just going to go into here, and this is going to pull them into a configuration like a little triangle. Then we're going to secure that by going through it again. So from this 8-oh, I'm going to go into this one on this side, then down into this one here, from the top of the bead down, and then I'm going to go back into the connecting 8-oh between the rondelles. Now we're going to do that one more time. So we're going to come up through this bead here, and let me even get a little closer just so you can see really well. Then we're going to pick up 2 8-oh seed beads, and we're basically just doing a herringbone now. So we're going to go from this bead down into this bead here. And just to make it secure, we're going to go ahead and go through the connecting bead in the center here. Instead of crossing, we're going to go down into that bead and then up through 2 on this side. So we're going to go through the original one and the one we just added right there. And this is going to drive you crazy with the pendant. It's going to keep going under it. So just be aware of that and pull your thread slowly so you can untangle it. Then we're going to do the same thing on the other side just to make everything ready and secure. So we're coming out of this bead. I've now got my left needle. I'm going to pick up 2 8-oh seed beads onto my needle. I'm coming out of this side of the 8-oh. I'm going to pick it up and go into the opposite side of the 8-oh here, like this. And I'm going to hold on to it and pull this down until we get that little triangle again. And then we have to sew through it again. So we're going to go up through the side that we're coming out of the connecting bead. Then we're going to go down into the bead next to it and back through our connecting bead. Now we have to position for our next stitch, so we go up into the bead next to our connecting bead right there. And we pick up 2 8-oh seed beads onto our needle, and we are now going to go down into the bead next to the one we're coming out of, like this, and pull this down so that they lay in a cute little herringbone like that. Then we're going to go down into the connecting bead. We're coming out of this bead here. We're going to go down into the connecting bead between the rondelles, and then up through both the 8-ohs on this side, just like that. And now we have both sides secure and ready. So let's work on this side here. So we're going to be doing a herringbone, but we're going to modify it somewhat, and we're going to use our triangle beads. So we're coming out of the 2, or this 8-oh right here. We are now going to pick up one of our triangle beads, and this can be any type of bead you want it to be, as long as it's not a huge bead. You can use a bicone, you can use a fire polish bead, whatever. Pick up one of your triangle beads, 2 8/0s, and a triangle bead, or whatever bead you're using. Then we're coming out of this bead here. We're going to cross over and go down into the bead on the side here, just this one bead. And we're going to pull this all down until all these beads form a little 2-layer unit here. Now we're going to cross over into the bead next to the one we're coming out of, go up into it, and then we're going to go through the triangle bead and the 8/0 on top of it, just like this, and pull this down. Get a little tension on your needle, cross over, go down into the bead on this side and the bead beneath it, just like this. Then we're going to cross over again and go up through. And we're doing this to secure it because we have crystal there and we have more than just one layer. So we're going through it to make it nice and secure. Now, I'm coming through this little triangle bead. I'm going to go up through the 8/0 on top of it. And again, I am going to pick up I'm going to pick up a triangle. I'm going to pick up 2 8/0s and a triangle, just like this. Now for this, just to make sure we're very secure, we're going to go down into the 8/0 and the crystal right here, so the triangle bead. We're going to pull all these beads down, just like this. Now we have to cross over and we have to go into the crystal next to where we're coming out of. So we're just going to go directly over. This gives another pass of thread through the crystal, and it secures everything nicely. So now I'm going through this crystal, through this 8/0, and I'm going to come up through the crystal on top of it and pull this through. Because it's a triangle bead, it's kind of hard to get the 8/0 on top of the triangle, so you can do that separate. So we're going to come up through this 8/0 also. Now we are going to pick up another triangle bead, 2 8/0s, and a triangle. We're going to cross over, we're going to go down into this 8/0 and the triangle. So we're going through 2 sets of beads on this side. Pull this down, let it lay out, cross over, and come up through the triangle bead, the 8/0 above it, and the triangle bead above it, and the 8/0 above it. So we are going up through 4 beads essentially, like this. Now we're going to pick up another triangle bead, and we're going to pick up 2 8/0s, not 3, Gina, and a triangle. Now this time we're going to cross over, we're going to go down through the crystal, the 8/0 and the crystal. So we're always going to go down through 2 and cross straight over, which makes us come up basically through 4. So we're crossing straight over. Where we're coming out, we're going to go up this crystal, this 8/0, this crystal, and the 8/0 on top of it, just like this. You'll know how many beads you have to go through because you're going to cross directly over. You have no choice but going through all of them to get back to the top. So now we have established our stitch here. And now I want to put a little accent in between with my rondelle. So the way we're going to do this one is we're coming out of the 8/0 here. We're going to pick up a rondelle. We're going to pick up 2 8/0s. And we're going to drop this down. Then we are just going to go back into the rondelle. right here, and we're going to go into the bead beneath it. So you're ignoring those 2 8/0s you put on, go through the rondelle and the 8/0 beneath that rondelle. Just like this. Now we lay it out and we've got this unit. It's not secure in any way, shape, or form. So what I like to do is cross over, go up through the rondelle, and I'm just going to pull it through that rondelle. Then I'm going to go up through the 8/0 on this side, cross over, go down into the rondelle on this side, or excuse me, the 8/0 on this side, and then into the rondelle. It's just easier because of the angles. I'm coming through the rondelle and the 8/0 on this side of the unit, on the left side. Then I'm going to cross back over into the 8/0 on the opposite side, and I'm going to come up through the rondelle. Then I'm going to come up through this 8/0. Now that's nice and secure. It's going to stay there nice, and it has enough thread through it to make it strong. So that's where we're at. Now we're going to go back into these units. So we will make, actually on my original I made 3 units, but on this one we're going to go ahead and make 4 units, or you can do 3 like this and put your little rondelle in between. So we're just going to pretend I made 3. And then we're going to pick up one of our triangle beads and then 2 8/0s. I'll just remake this and I'll make it with 4 since I did that. So we're going to pick up a triangle, 2 8/0s, and a triangle. We're going to drop it down, and we're going to go through just the 8/0 on top of the round bead on the opposite side from the one that we started in, right there. And we're going to bring this down like this. Now we need to cross over, go back up into the 8/0 and the crystal and the 8/0 on top of it. It's like that. Then we're going to cross over, go down into the crystal, so the 8/0, the crystal, and the 8/0 beneath it. So we're going down into 3, cross over, and come back up. This makes it nice and secure, just like that. Now we've transitioned back into our little triangle beads. So now we're coming out of the 8/0. We're going to pick up a triangle. We're going to pick up 2 8/0s and a triangle. We're going to cross over and go into the 8/0 on this side and the triangle bead, just like this. So we're going down into 2. Pull this until it arranges itself. Cross over, you're coming out of this triangle here, cross over, and go up 4 beads all the way to the top here, just like this. So this is modified, and we're going through the beads a little bit different than we would a regular herringbone, simply because we need more strength for this and more thread through the beads. They're a different shape and they're crystal, so they're a little sharper. So now we are going to go ahead and make another set here, and then this is pretty repetitive. So we're going to go ahead and pick up a triangle, 2 8/0s, and a triangle. Drop this down, go down into the 8/0 and the crystal beneath it. Arrange them so that they lay nicely, like this. Cross over, go into the crystal next to the one you're coming out of, and go up all 4 beads on this side. Okay, and we're going to do one more set. And you can see my thread is already getting short. So you're going to need to extend your Fireline doing this. And I'll probably just go ahead and show you how to do that. Let's go ahead and make one more unit of the triangle beads here. I'm going to pick up a triangle, 2 8-ohs, and a triangle. We're going to cross over, go down into the 8-oh and triangle on the other side, and lay them out. Cross over, go back up 4 beads on this side, just like that. Now, I need to extend my Fireline. I could probably go ahead and get my 8-oh or my 8mm, my 8x6 unit done, but I'm going to go ahead and extend it. I'm going to put quite a bit of thread on it so I don't have to extend it again, and I will show you how to do that. So you're going to grab another piece of Fireline, and mine of course wants to argue with me. Where's the end? Come here, come here, come here. There it is. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a real long piece, probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 feet, and cut this off. And I'm just going to cut this down a little shorter so it's a little easier to manage. I'm going to take my new piece of thread and put it underneath my short one. Then I'm going to bring my short one around the new piece of thread like this. Then I'm going to cross the new piece of thread and the short one into a little X on top here. Bring the thread that's on top underneath and into the loop. So you're tying a little square knot. Now you can just pull this in to a knot and tighten it, just like that. Then we are going to grab the 2 ends here, and I like to cut them short just so that I don't have my joint way down here and I have to keep drawing it through my beads. So I cut these down. I could cut them even shorter, but that's okay. And then we're going to take a little lighter. Hopefully I have one close by here. And we're just going to put the ends in the bottom of the flame, or not in, just close to the bottom of the flame, and let it just create a tiny little ball on the ends like this. And then we're going to take both sides and just pull until you can draw that little joint together. So those 2 little blobs create a nice extension, very strong, and you don't have to worry about it breaking or anything else. It's a great way to extend your thread. Now go ahead and put your needle back on your thread, and we will make this unit here. And now that I have changed the amount of units I'm doing in between, I will come back and tell you exactly how many of these sections we're going to make an 18 to 19 inch necklace here. More like 18. So now we've made our 4 little segments here. We are going to pick up one of our rondelles and 2 8-ohs, drop it down, and then we're going to go back into the rondelle, and just the rondelle, and then the 8-oh on the other side beneath it, just like this. I'm going to grab a hold of it just so that I can hold it steady and pull this down. And arrange those 2 little beads on top, just like that. And that's what you've got. Now we're going to cross over, and we're going to go up into the bead next to the one we're coming out of, and then through the rondelle and the 8-oh on top of it if you can. If you can't, just pull it through the rondelle like this. Pull this down and then go up through that 8-oh. Pull your thread through so you have this. Now we have to secure it, so we're going to sew through again. We're going to cross over into the 8-oh next to the one we're coming out of and go into the rondelle, and if you can, go into the 8-oh beneath it. If not, pull through the rondelle and then go through that 8-oh. Pull this down, cross over, go up through the 8-oh and the rondelle here, then back up through the 8-oh on this side. This is going to pull everything nice and flush and tight and secure, just like that. Then we will begin our herringbone again with the triangles. So you're going to pick up a triangle and 2 of your 8/0s and a triangle. We're going to drop this down. We're going to go down into the 8/0 right here on this side. We're going to cross over and go up through the 8/0 and all 3 beads on this side. So the 8/0, the triangle, the 8/0. Now because this is a transition stitch from the round to back into the triangles, we're going to go through this one more time. So we're going to cross over and we're going to go through all 3 beads on this side, exit above that rondelle, cross over and go through all 3 beads on this side. And the triangle beads can be a little stubborn, so you just kind of have to push them around. And there you have it. Now, we're going to continue making these sections with 4 of our herringbone with the triangles, and then a rondelle, 4 herringbone, and then a rondelle, 4 herringbone, until we have 4 complete sections of your triangle bead herringbone. Now, I have finished my 4th on my 4th section here, and I'm going to put another rondelle section on. So I'm coming out of this bead here. I have picked up my rondelle and 2 8/0s, and we're going to drop this down. And then we're going to go back into the rondelle and then into the 8/0 seed bead and the triangle bead on this side, on the opposite side. Pull this down, arrange your little 8/0s. And sometimes they're stubborn. And then we are going to cross over, go up through the crystal, the 8/0, the rondelle, and the 8/0 on the other side, right here. Pull this down. Now to secure this, we are going to cross back over, go into the 8/0 on this side now, and then the rondelle and the 8/0 beneath it. Pull your thread through, cross over and go up into the 8/0 on the other side, and the triangle beads kind of get in the way, but we're going to do this anyway. Come on. To secure this, and I'm sorry about my ring, someone's outside working in the yard and it's going to keep going. Come on, go up under there. Okay, so let me reposition this. The triangle bead is just a little bit funny shaped. There we go. So up through that 8/0, through the rondelle, and then I'm going to go through this 8/0, and we are going to pause for a second so I can get rid of that ring, I think. Okay. So now we're here, and hopefully the ring doesn't keep going. Let's just go ahead and finish this. I'm sorry for that, but you know how that goes. Now, this is where we're going to use a couple of 11/0 seed beads just to narrow this herringbone stitch down on top here. Excuse me. So we're coming through this 8/0 seed bead right here. We're going to pick up 2 11/0 seed beads. Let me get you a little closer. And we're just going to cross over and go down just into the 8/0 on the opposite side. And then pull these down. Arrange them. Cross over and go up into the 2 beads on this side. So the 8/0 and the 11/0 on this side now. Pull this through. And now we are in position to narrow everything down for behind the neck. Now, this is where I'm going to use my cuboid simply because I think the triangle beads would be kind of uncomfortable on the neck. So I've decided to narrow it down into these beads. Now you can use any beads that you would like for this part, that's fine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pick up 6 of my cuboid beads and drop them down. Then I'm going to pick up 3 8/0s and drop them down. And then 6 more. Of course, you can make this longer too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, Gina, I missed one. You can make this portion longer if you want a bigger necklace, and you can make it shorter if you want a shorter necklace. It's up to you. So I've got 6 now. And then 3 8/0s. And then 6 more of my cuboids. Okay, come on. Now we get to listen to website sounds. I should have moved my iPad. I'm sorry, guys. 4, 5, 6. Just like that. Now we're going to pick up 7 8/0 seed beads. So I've got 7. I'm going to drop them down. And now we are going to ignore the first 2 of the 8/0s and go into the second 2 of the 8/0s and avoid the 3 underneath it. So skip over those, go through 2. Hold on to it with your thumb and your finger and pull this down until you can bring these Okay, I did that wrong. Sorry, guys. Let's back out of here. I did that wrong. All right. So we've got 7 8/0 seed beads. We are going to avoid all 4 of the top ones and go through the 3 bottom ones. Sorry about that. So just go through the 3. You have 4 that you're avoiding. And we're going to hold on to these 3 and bring this down. Now, what you should have is your 4 beads laying next to each other here. You're going to have to arrange them so that they lay doubled on top here, like this. And now we're coming out of these 3 bottom beads here. We are going to sew all the way back down and come back up so that we can secure this portion. So we're going to go down into all of these beads. So I've gone through all the cuboids and all the 8/0s. Pull this down. Then you're going to go into all the cuboids on this section. And then exit, and we're going to go into the opposite 11/0 and 8/0 from which we started. So we started out of this side. Now we've got this side here. Let me get you real close. And we're going to go into this 8/0 or 11/0 and 8/0, just like this. Now make sure you don't have everything pulled so tight that there's no movement in this, but you don't want any slack either. Cross over, go back into the 8/0 and 11/0 on the other side. Just like that. Now we have to sew all the way back up. So we're going to go through, so now we're coming out of these 2 little connections here. We're going to go all the way back up. This gives security, and it just puts us in the position to where we can put our clasping on. So now we've gone all the way up these cuboids. I'll go into these 3 8/0s and then start going through the cuboids, and then I'll pick up where I left off here, come up through these 3 8/0s here, and just the 3 8/0s. Let me get back in camera here and pull all this through. Now at this point, make sure that everything is nice and secure and you still have movement. So you don't want to pull your thread so tight that your beads are just one big stiff stick here. They need some movement. Now we're going to go into, we're coming out of this bead here, we're going to go into these two on this side. To secure them, we're going to cross over, go into the two on the opposite side, and then cross over, go into the two on this side again. That gives some security there. And one more thing we want to do to pull these together is, now that we're coming out of this bead, we're going to cross over and go just into this bead. Then we're going to cross over and go into the other top bead, just like that. That gives that little draw of string between the herringbone stitch now, so that they're pulled together and it's nice and secure. Now I'm going to pick up my wire guardian and I'm going to go through one side of my wire guardian, just like this. I'm going to bring it down to my piece. I'm going to hold on to my piece and arrange that wire guardian on top so the two little legs are right above the two 8/0 seed beads. And then I'm going to go into the opposite side of the wire guardian here, and then into the two 8/0s, just like this. I'm going to hold on to it with my thumb and finger. I'm going to feel that thread guide down into the divot on top of the wire guardian, and now it's positioned. Now we're going to cross over, go up through both beads on this side and through the loop of the wire guardian again. Pull it. Now go through the loop on this side and the two 8/0s on this side. Hold on to it between your thumb and your finger and guide that thread down into the divot, just like that. Now we're going to tie a little knot here. So we're going to go between where the beads are straight and then where they start to become doubled there. So we're just going through the middle here. And let me back off just a tiny bit. And we're going to pull our thread through, make a loop, go through the loop, and draw a knot down on that thread bridge between the beads. Then we're going to go back down through a lot of these beads here. So I'm going down through the 3 8/0s, then the cuboids, making sure that everything's tight and nice, but I still have some movement in my beads. And I'm just going to go all the way back down so I can tie another knot in my herringbone down here. So I'm going to go through this 8/0, or excuse me, this cuboid, this 11/0, and this 8/0 here. Then I can bring my thread right underneath the thread bridge from the rondelle to the 8/0, between those two 8/0s there. Make another loop, tie a knot. Then I'm just going to slide through this rondelle here, and I am going to cut my thread really close here. And now I have one end, and we can go ahead and put on our clasping and stuff because we have a wire guardian, and this is what it looks like so far, just like this. Once you lay it out, look at how pretty that is. And it doesn't matter if this twists a little bit, because it's pretty regardless. So it's kind of nice that you don't have to worry so much about this, the way it looks on the neck. It will lay nicely, and you can make this portion longer if you'd like, so that it is more around the back of the neck here, this part. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to pick up our other needle, and we're going to do the exact same thing again. We'll start with our herringbone stitches. I'll do one with you. We'll work through it, put on a rondelle, and do exactly the same thing that we did on this side, So we're just going to make it the same way. You can always back up the video and watch this side so that you can do it again. However, at this point, you probably have the pattern down pretty well. So you're coming out of your 8/0s here. We're going to go ahead and start with our triangle stitches, and I'm just going to turn this over just so I can get to it better. I'm going to pick up a triangle, 2 8/0s, and a triangle, and then I'm going to go into the 2 8/0s on the opposite side from which I'm coming out here, and let me get you in closer, right there, and then we're going to pull this down just like that. We're going to go through the bead we're attached to, so the 8/0 between the rondelles here, and then we're going to travel back up to the top. And then we're just going to continue our herringbone exactly the same way we did on the other side. Do everything the same all the way to the wire guardian, the way we put it on. And then when we're done, we should have this entire side done up to the wire guardian. We'll come back and we will put on our clasping. Okay, so now you can see I've finished the entire other side all the way to the wire guardian, just like I showed you how to do on this side. And now you can see my necklace. All we have to do is finish the ends now. We're going to prepare a little drop for the end here, and then we're going to put our jump rings together, and then we'll put our clasping on. So you're going to need your 3/8 jump rings, your 4 to 5 millimeter jump ring, 6, whatever, the smaller one, and a rondelle and your eye pin. So while you're at this, I'm going to show you how to make the little drop. You're going to make 3 like this because we're going to make a pair of earrings also. So I'm going to show you how to make this component, and then just realize you have to make a couple more. So take your head pin, drop your rondelle on it, and then place your pliers right above that rondelle, holding it nice and firmly so that there's no gap between the end of the eye pin and the rondelle. Then turn your pliers so that they're flat and parallel to the bead mat, and then push the wire over the back prong of your plier, and then turn your hand so that your pliers are now up and down, or vertical as I like to call it, and then bring the wire over the top of this top prong now. And as you do that, about 3/4 of the way around, draw it underneath and turn your plier flat again, just like that. And then I like to kind of rock it away from me so that I can make sure that my loop is centered, and I may have to rock it a little bit more. This particular eye pin is stainless steel. It's kind of hard to work with. So now I've got a loop like this, and again, I'm going to try to center it a little bit more just by moving that side back. I'm going to hold onto it with my flat nose pliers onto the loop. I'm going to switch hands. I'm going to grab another pair of pliers, and I'm just going to start to turn this excess wire around the wire that goes into the bead, just like this. And I'm just going to turn it until it's nice and tight, and then I'm going to cut it real close to the coil. I'm going to throw things today, guys. So I'm going to cut this down. There we go. And let me get you a little closer. So now you can see that I have a little excess piece sticking out, and I don't want that. So I'm going to grab my little crimping tool here, and these little Xeron crimp pliers are wonderful to tuck in the ends. They really help. So now I'm going to tuck that in a little bit better. Come on. And now I have a little dangle. And like I said, make 3 of those just like that so that you can make the pair of earrings too if you would like to. I'm going to straighten out the loop, and then I'm going to grab my 3 8mm jump rings and I'm going to connect them together. So I'm going to grab 2 pairs of pliers here. I found the opening of the jump ring right there. I'm putting a plier on one side of that opening. I'm putting another plier on the other side, and I'm going to crank it open just like that. Then I'm going to put on my little dangle and another jump ring, and I'm going to close it. You don't have to crank it quite that wide open if you don't want to, but I'm a little carried away. Now I'm going to grab the next jump ring, open it up, drop on a third, and close this one nice and tightly. And then I'll take that third one and I am going to open it and I'm going to put it on the wire guardian on my necklace, and I'm going to close it. Then I'm going to grab my smaller jump ring and find the opening. Where are you? There it is. Right there. And I'm going to open it the same way. And I'm going to drop on my lobster claw, and then I'm going to put it on the wire guardian, and I'm going to close it. And now, dearies, my little dearies, we have a very nice ending to our beautiful necklace. Yay, yay, we are so amazing. Look at the amazing things we can do. Okay, so now we're going to make a pair of earrings to match. I just designed this one, and so I'm going to show you how to make that. And that's what that looks like with the set, and I think it's really pretty. So let's go ahead and make one of those, and we will be done. Okay, so now we're going to make an earring, and everything I'm going to show you, you're going to double, of course, because I've already made one. So you should have made 3 of these. So you have 1 for your necklace and 2 for your earrings. And that's just a head pin in the 8x6 rondelle. And then an ear wire, of course. You're going to need a wire guardian, some 8/0 seed beads, 2 11/0 seed beads, and some of your, about 8 of your triangle beads. And you're going to put on to your needle about 3 feet of thread, which should be way more than enough. And then we're going to pick up 4 8/0 seed beads onto our needle. Let me move some of this stuff out of the way so I can get you in here. And we've got 4 8/0 seed beads. We're going to bring them to the end of the thread. And then we're just going to come back up through, you just leave a short tail, you don't have to leave a long tail. And then come up through the first 2 on your tail side, hold on to your tail and hold on to those beads, and then just pull the other 2 beads up to them by pulling your thread through, just like this. And now you have these little 4 beads. And we're coming out of this side, we're going to go into both beads on this side, hold on to everything, pull your thread through, then cross over and go where your tail is coming out and go through those 2 beads. Now pull on your tail and on your working thread and make sure your tension is nice and get everything nice and neat. And then we are going to go down through one of these beads. So you're coming out of this side, we're going to go down into this side and pull your thread through, cross back over and go into one bead on the side right next to the bead you're coming out of. You're going to go up through the bead next to it and pull it. And that turns it into a herringbone with that little extra piece of thread in the middle there. And we're just going to pull it tight so it's nice and neat and you don't see that thread so much. Just like this. Now we are going to pick up, I said you need 2 11/0 seed beads. I was wrong. You're going to need 4 11/0 seed beads. So we're going to pick up an 11/0 and then we're going to pick up our wire guardian. And we're just going to go through one side of the wire guardian, just like this, and bring this down to the piece. Now this is what I have here. And I am going to go through the other side of the wire guardian, just like this, and pull my thread through. I'm going to hold it between my thumb and my finger so I can guide my thread through the top of that wire guardian, and then pick up an 11/0 seed bead and go down into the 2 8/0s on this side. And pull this down. Now, this is what you should have, just like this. And we're going to cross over, go up through all 3 beads on this side. So the 2 8/0s, the 11/0, and then into the wire guardian and pull. Then we're going to go into the other side of the wire guardian and all 3 beads on this side, 11/0, 2 8/0s, just like this. Hold on to it over the top of the wire guardian so that as you pull your thread through, you can guide it into the wire guardian divot, just like that. I'm just going to move that tail aside. And I'm now going to pick up a triangle bead. Oh, let me fix my thread here. A triangle bead, 2 8/0s, and a triangle bead. Come here. And then I'm just going to go up through one of the 8/0s right here. So I'm coming out of this one, I'm going up into the one on this side. I'm going to hold on to it. Oh, sorry guys, hang on. I'll get organized here. I'm holding on to it and I'm just going to pull these up. Just like that. And then I'm going to bring my thread back over because everything is arguing with me right now. Jeez Louise. All right, so I'm coming out of this bead now. I've pulled these all into organization and I'm going to go down into this 8/0 and the triangle bead and the 8/0 on top of it on this side. And I'm going to pull my thread through and tighten everything up. Just like that. And this is what you should have. Now, my thread is just crazy. I'm going to pick up a triangle bead, 2 8/0s, and a triangle bead. And I'm now going to go through the 8/0 on the opposite side from which I'm coming out. So I'm going to go into this bead here and the triangle bead above it. Just like this. And hold on to it and pull these down. Now, I'm coming out of this triangle bead up here. I'm going to go through 4 beads on this side. So I'm going to go through the triangle, the 8/0, the triangle, and the 8/0 beneath it. Just like this. And pull it through. And tighten it. Make sure everything is nice and neat. Just like that. And do that again. Triangle, 2 8/0s, triangle, cross over, go up into the 8/0 and the triangle on the side next to where you're coming out of. Just like this. And I'll get a little closer just for a few minutes here, just to make sure, and pull this down. And organize them so that they lay correctly. And now I am coming out of this triangle bead. I'm going to cross over into the triangle bead next to it and go through 4 beads. So I'll go through triangle, 8/0, triangle, 8/0, and pull this down. Tighten everything up, nice and neat. And I'm going to go ahead, because I can see this thread right here a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and sew through that again. So I'm going to go through I'm going to cross over, go through the 8/0, the triangle, just the 8/0 and the triangle. And then I am going to pull my thread through. And go back down into this triangle and 8/0. Just to kind of clean that up a little bit. tighten everything up so it lays nice. You can see it, that's better. Let's make one more set of triangles, and this one we're going to do just slightly different. And I just pulled my 8-O's too close together there, so let me arrange them. I'm going to pick up a triangle, and then this time I'm just going to pick up one 8-O seed bead, and then I'm going to pick up a triangle. So like this, and then I'm going to go over into the 8-O next to the one I'm coming out of and the triangle above it. And I'm just going to pull these 3 beads down and arrange them. They're twisted. I'm just going to arrange them until they lay the way I want them to, just like that. Then I'm coming out of this 8-O, I'm going to cross over, or out of the triangle bead, excuse me, I'm going to cross over and go down through the triangle, the 8-O, and the triangle on this side. So through 3 beads, just like this. Now I'm going to go through this 8-O seed bead here in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead and go through the triangle and the 8-O and the triangle on this side. So I'm going through 3, just like this. Pull this tight. Right here I'm going to tie a knot. So I'm going to go right behind this 8-O seed bead, between the 8-O and the triangle. So I'm just going to hold my needle there and guide my thread, make a loop that will be right between the triangle and the 8-O, go through my loop, and then pull a knot down between the beads here. So just guide your thread down like that. And then I'm going to sew back up through this 8-O, the triangle, this 8-O, and this triangle right here. And I think I will go through just one 8-O here. So I'm just going through one 8-O on the top. I'm going to cross over and go through the 8-O next to it. And then I'm going to go down through about 6 beads here. So the triangle, the 8-O, the triangle, the 8-O, and the triangle. And pull this down. Pull it tight so that it doesn't show between those 8-Os. Right there. Now, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut this tail, leaving a slight tag so that I can burn that in so that it will be a little blob that will help retain that thread. I'm just going to burn that in by getting the flame close, let it melt in, and tuck it in. Here, I'm just going to take my scissors and just cut really close, just like that. And I did get a little bit of a tag, so I can burn that if I can get to it. Yeah, just like that. And this is what we have. Now, and I forgot to tell you, you need a jump ring too for this. So we will need about a 6mm, a 5mm jump ring is what I'm using, a 5mm right there in diameter. So you're gonna need that too. So my ability to remember everything lately is a little iffy. So sorry about that, but you will need a couple jump rings for your earrings. And find the opening, which on these jump rings is kind of hard to do. They're closed tightly. So there's the opening. Place a plier on either side of the opening. Crank it open. Drop on your little dangle you made. And then put the jump ring through the 8-O seed bead. Just like that. And then close your jump ring. And then grab your ear wire and find where it opens, which is on this side. So I'm just going to crank it open, same way, just lift it open, drop on your earring, and close it nice and tightly. And, my friends, we have a set of earrings. So let me move all this stuff out of the way and put this all together so you can see the beautiful thing we just made. And boy, would that be really pretty with a black dress. Just gorgeous. And so let me back off so you can see the gorgeousness of it. And again, if you don't want a great big long pendant like this, you can just put you can make a right angle weave unit here with 8 O's in between your 4 beads and just have a nice focal with your 8x6s, and that would be just as pretty. And that be it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope you try to make one. And again, if you don't have the bags, don't let that stop you. This is a technique that can be used with a lot of different sizes and shapes of beads. It works out great. I've used it many times for many things. And for a pendant necklace, it just works out real nice. Especially with these triangle beads, it gives it a whole lot of texture. And I do have some triangle beads on the website. I don't remember exactly what I've got, but I don't think I have this color, but I have a bunch of different colors, I think. I'll have to look and see. Anyway, that's this project, and I will do the festive bag necklace next. Bye-bye.